Hello, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's Ask Professor Day. I'm just joking. Let me get comfortable, you guys. Okay, so this Q&A is part of my Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge. So every week, for the duration of the challenge, which I guess is only a few more days, I've been jumping on and just answering questions and talking about things that people have mentioned to me or brought up to me regarding their processes and how things are going in this challenge. And so today, I just want to talk about habit formation and what I've learned on my journey, what I've been able to experience, in the hope that maybe my revelations can be helpful to you guys as you're joining or as you're starting on this journey. And maybe you guys might be able to see some similar things. Maybe you guys are experiencing similar things. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, as you guys are jumping on, thank you guys for hitting that like button. That helps my channel out so much. And it really helps push out this message of just a different way of life, kind of doing things a slow and peaceful way. So thank you guys so much. And also, this is from Lisa Lett. Hey, girl. Hi, live. What a surprise. I just quit working for the week. Hey, welcome, Jean. Thank you guys so much for joining on. And so I feel like I have one more announcement. What was it? I want to tell you guys to like. And all right. Well, as I think of the other announcement, I'll just throw it in. Hey, Deshira. Hey, Carol. And so, okay. So basically, I want to share with you guys. I think I've shared this story on my channel before, but I'm going to share it again. And it was basically a time where I really had to experience the process of like building a habit. I had a task that I just really didn't like to do. And I pretty much had to just go through the process of really developing that habit. And I'm just going to share what that was like for me. So you guys know I'm very vocal. There was a time I used to be on the struggle boat when it came to laundry. And so here I am getting my Fly Lady routines together. And, there are some aspects of the system that I don't mind doing. So like doing the dishes and things like that. There's some aspects of the system that I can do with ease. And then there are some aspects of the system where I felt like there was like a lot of resistance there. It just wasn't like the thing that I was looking forward to. And so I found ways to like wiggle out of that routine. It's really time. You guys know what time it is. And so yeah, I was just finding ways to wiggle out of this routine. And for me, this routine was laundry. And so, yeah, I was like making progress. I was getting things done, but I just felt like I was always catching up with the laundry. And so like I would like do all my other routines. And that was just the one that I would just kind of let go of more often. And then I finally got to a point, I don't know what happened. I think something happened. Oh, I was making a YouTube video. I think I told you guys this story before. And, one thing that I really tried to do on my channel is I like to show you guys the areas where I'm making progress. And I like to be very clear and honest that I don't have the system down perfectly and that there are some things I'm still working on. So I was making a video and I just felt like it was the right thing. I showed you guys me kicking butt, being productive all day. And I just felt like I needed to also show that this is an area where I'm still struggling. So I showed you guys the laundry. I showed you guys my table full of laundry. And that was the day I was like, I really need to like buckle down on this routine and really put a lot of effort and energy in order to make this something that feels natural to me. And like, I'm tired of struggling with this stuff all the time. And so basically I want to talk about the steps that I experienced as I was trying to build this laundry routine. And some of you guys may be kind of experiencing these steps right now. And so I'm just going to kind of share kind of what that looks like for me and how I was able to work through it. So the first thing is I had to go through a phase of like being like motivated. I was like, yeah, like I'm going to get serious about this. I'm going to buckle down. I'm just tired of struggling with this. So the first couple of days, I was like really excited about it because I was just like, this is the end of my dining table being taken over. I'm not going to be catching up on this stuff all the time. And then I just noticed very, very shortly after that, I kind of went through this phase where it felt really, really annoying. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I've committed to being consistent, but I really don't want to show up today. I really don't want to do this. And it just felt like annoying, but I was like pushing myself to do it, which in just a moment, I'll give you the tips that made the difference for me if you guys stick around. But I kind of put myself in a position where I kind of like backed myself into a corner, if you will. And in order for me to do some of the other things that I had planned for the night or do some of the other things that I wanted to do, I put myself in a position where I was like, I have to get this laundry done first. And so, and it was just really annoying. And then after a while, I think it was annoying for about a good maybe 2 weeks. And then after a while, what I started to notice is that resistance became like less and less and less. That feeling of me not wanting to do this over time, it just started to loosen and loosen and loosen. And then I would say about 3 weeks in, I started to notice that I didn't mind. Like, I didn't love doing the laundry, but I didn't feel that resistance and that annoyance that I used to feel before. Like I got consistent and I put myself in a position where I had to show up and do this stuff over and over again. And so, and now I'm kind of to the point where I feel like I said, I don't really think about it as much. The resistance isn't there as much. And now I feel like it feels weird for me not to do it. Like I've gotten so used to experiencing the benefits of being consistent, experiencing the benefits of my dining table being clear, of everybody's laundry being where it's supposed to be. And honestly, like hardly thinking about laundry. You guys who follow my challenge, y'all know what my routine is like. And for the most part of my day, I'm only thinking about laundry for just a few minutes a day. So I was like, I just hardly think about it. And I've just gotten to that point where it's been such a relief for me that I don't want to go back after experiencing that. So maybe you guys are experiencing this with other routines, or maybe you have like tasks in your routine that you prefer versus tasks that, you know, you don't mind so much, or tasks that you prefer versus tasks that you really don't want to do. And maybe you have like areas where you're really experiencing a lot of pushback. And so I guess I just wanted to share my story to let you guys know that just because it starts out that way, it doesn't mean that it's going to be that way forever. I do believe, and also based off of like reading about habits and reading books about habit formation, I just really have come to confirm with my own experience that, the best way to get through that is through consistency. And I found that when I was playing around and kind of half doing it a little here, showing up sometimes and not showing up other times, like that resistance remained. But it was the point where I got consistent and I put myself in a position where I had to show up. And once I got really consistent, that's when I started to notice some of that pushback disappear. And I feel like for me, I talk about my laundry story because that was the example that was the most obvious to me. But after that, after I started like reflecting on that experience and being like, okay, like that was interesting. What happened there? I realized that I had the same experience with pretty much all the routines that I had to establish, but to a lesser degree. Like even with dishes, it was like when I was doing the shiny sink rule and keeping my dishes out of my sink and just being so proud of like keeping my dishes clear and making that easier. There was a small moment of time where I was like, okay, you know, it was cute at first. It was cute, shiny sink, whatever, come through. But then there was like a moment in time where I was just like, I don't really want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this. And then once I stuck with it, because I got acclimated to seeing my dishes cleared and I got comfortable with not struggling with the dishes all the time. Now that resistance is not there as much as it used to be. And so I noticed it with my shiny sink roll. I noticed it with hot spots. And so I just want to share that to me, the thing that makes that resistance get better or go away is through consistency. And I think a large part of that, from what I've been reading in like books about habit formation and things like that, is it literally changes the chemistry and the grooves in your brain. When you get consistent and you do whatever it is, whatever habit it is that you want to establish, when you do it day in and day out and you push through that resistance over and over and over again, like your brain, I think that your brain just doesn't want to be doesn't want to have that fight with you and that battle with you every day. So eventually you just get to the point where you're just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And I just noticed that tension starts to release. And so I want to share with you guys some things that I've learned about habit formation through these experiences, through self-reflection, and things that have really helped me just feel more confident about my ability to change. Because I think before Fly Lady, I just thought I am who I am, I've tried to do this. I've tried to change this. I've tried to do the diets. I've tried to establish these new habits and it's too hard. And I just am who I am. Like, I don't feel confident that I can change those things. That's what I used to feel before my peaceful homekeeping. And now, like, I know that that's not true and that I am capable of change. I am capable of growth. But there's a few things that I need to do in order to set myself up for success. And there's just a couple of things that I need to be aware of too as I'm going through the journey. And when I kind of go into a new habit with the right mindset, I find that I'm more likely to be successful with it. So these are the things that I learned. The first thing is, hold on, you guys, I'm looking at my notes, is realizing that most of the habits that have formed kind of go through this predictable sequence. And so if I just realize that, this is a process, I'm going to be excited about it for a minute, then I'm going to kind of dip for a minute. It's going to be annoying. That annoying part is going to last about 2 weeks, about 2, maybe 3 weeks. And then I'm going to start to feel better about it. It just prepares my mind mentally when I know that it's not going to be like all roses and peaches for the whole 3 weeks. There will come a time where I'm just like, this is annoying. And that is probably the most important time to be consistent and to show up, is when it gets annoying, and just kind of go through it and experience it for, that short amount of time. And then it starts to get better. The second thing that helps me set myself up for success when it comes to building habits is to start small. That is why, for this peaceful homekeeping challenge, I really tried my best to give this to you guys in very bite-sized pieces, because it is so important to start small, you guys. Basically, like, sometimes I feel like our brains, it doesn't want to change, like we kind of get stuck in what we're doing, our old habits, and our brain just wants us to continue doing what we've been doing. That's what we know. That's what's easier. And so whenever you get ready to change or to create a new habit, there's like a large amount of resistance that can come with that. And so in order to make sure that you're successful, or to put yourself in a position to be able to overcome that resistance, is you have to start small. And you have to start easy and get yourself used to doing the small and easy things before you try to grow it and make it something bigger. And so, I feel like, sometimes people try to make it seem like starting small, like, oh, that's insignificant. It's not helpful. It's not going to actually take you where you want to go if you're not doing the full blown system or doing all the steps that are required. You're not taking up the full diet plan. But I would like to argue that that's not been my experience. Sometimes starting those, like doing things small, it just kind of builds that foundation for you. And then once you have a foundation, then it becomes easier to grow. But I feel like what I used to do and what many people are trying to do is they're trying to like do all of it at once. And it's just, for me, it's just been too hard. And I found that a more effective strategy is to start small, build my foundation little by little. And then there's just going to come a point where you can kind of accelerate and grow. But you got to establish the habit first before you build up on something. So just find like one small thing that you can really put your attention on, understanding that this is the small thing. This is not the end all be all. This is just me getting my footing, getting used to pushing that through that resistance, getting used to knowing about myself. What does it take for me to push through this little thing? And then the lessons that you learn as you're pushing through and learning how to do the small things will help you as you grow and increase the intensity of the habit or the changes that you want to make. Another thing that I've learned to make myself successful with changing my homekeeping habits, there's other habits in my life that I need to work on, is learning to tweak. I feel like, we kind of grow up in a society where we normalize the fact that change and lifestyle changes and things like that, it should be hard. It's about having discipline. And I've learned that the research just doesn't support that. It just doesn't. Like, from what I've been reading about habits, you guys know that I'm obsessed with James Clear and Atomic Habits. There's only so much willpower. It takes too much energy to constantly be pushing through your willpower. But if instead you find ways to tweak or make the routine or habit feel easier, or you start small and then you build yourself up that way, you're more likely to be successful for the long term. So I'm always thinking, when things feel too hard, I don't just accept that and be like, oh, it's supposed to be hard. No, I start brainstorming, like, okay, like, what are things that I can do, or what are things that I can change? How can I rearrange this to make this feel lighter? And I just feel like as you go through this process, you'll know what's appropriate for you. You'll know what that appropriate amount of resistance is for you. Because I'm not going to say that the resistance is going to go away completely. I'm not going to say that you won't feel any resistance at all, but there should be like an appropriate level. Like you don't want too much. And if it feels like too hard for you, for me, that's a sign that I need to start tweaking, or maybe I need to scale it back for a little bit and slowly build myself up, or like I need to start small, I need to tweak, I need to come up with solutions, because for me, I know that I'm less likely to be successful when that resistance is too much. So that's one thing that I try to think about and I try to work on is how do I make this easier? How do I get these kids involved? How do I make sure that there's less toys? For the laundry, you guys know that I'm a huge advocate for working in small loads, because that's the way that I made it easier for me. When it only takes like 5 minutes to put my laundry away at night, to me, that's much easier than looking at a table full of laundry and expecting myself to do all of that. So how can I make it easier? How can I make this feel smaller for now until I establish this, and then I can begin to grow? Another thing that I try to think about is timing. One reason I was having so many issues with that laundry is because I saved it for the very end of the day, and I was expecting myself to, after, doing all the things, running around, being with my kids, working, just doing all the things, I was expecting myself to do my hardest routine for me at the time at the very end of the day. And I just realized that didn't make sense for me. Like, it takes so much energy for me to push through that resistance and for me to do it. Like, I wasn't setting myself up for success. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up moving that laundry routine to before dinner. I told myself before I can cook dinner, before I can do baths, before I can do all of my evening routines that are so important to me, because I want my kids to go to bed on time so I can be free. I told myself that, no, you need to fold this laundry for a minute. It takes 5 minutes. Do this first, and then you can proceed with your day. And that is when I started being mindful about the timing, and when I started doing my routines and just being more aware of like when I had the energies to support when I had the energy to support, the habits that I was trying to establish, I noticed that started making a difference for me. And I was like saying that's annoying. Well, I was just like how it felt annoying for a little while. That was annoying to me because I'm like, I really want to get my kids in bed on time. I really want to cook this dinner, but no, I need to do this laundry first. And when I made that a staple in my routine for that period of time, that's when I noticed that I could be more consistent. And then, like I said, through that consistency, things started to feel easier. Another thing that helps me is I always tell you guys, like, whenever, as we're going through this challenge, that this is the routine that we're focusing on. So work on this routine and the routines that you've established so far, and do the best that you can with everything else. And so for me, that has really helped. I noticed that sometimes, like, when I get to a point where I really want to make a difference or really want to establish a routine, I just kind of tell myself that I'm going to stick with the routines that already feel like habits to me, that I'm already doing well, and I'm going to do the best with everything else. And I'm going to put all my focus and concentration on making this one happen. And so I know that I think it's been a while, but if I'm not mistaken, I know that on the Fly Lady system, they have like a focus of the month. Like this month, we're going to put a lot of focus into establishing this habit or this particular aspect of our system. And I think that that's a great idea, because sometimes when we're trying to establish too many habits at once, it kind of, it puts our energy in too many places. So we're not really being powerful at anything. But sometimes when you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do the best I can here, and really try to put my energy into this routine, really try to put my energy into building this laundry habit or this dishes habit. I just find that focus really helps me establish the habit faster. And then once the habit is established, it's like, it doesn't take as much effort to work through, or it doesn't take as much of my mental energy as it did before. And then when it feels easier, then I bring in the next habit and I'm like, okay, I'm really going to put my attention and focus here and do the best that I can. And then you'll notice that over time, as you're building more and more habits, that things are just going to start falling into place and things are just going to feel easier and easier. And then, that's my alarm, you guys. It's time for my kids to go to school. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to put you guys on mute for just a second. Hello. Ezekor! Come get the tablet. Hello? All right, I got to wrap this up, you guys, but I just want to say, I had a couple more things that I wanted to say. The last thing that helps me be consistent and to set myself up for success is just embracing the fact that I don't want to do this. and I have to figure out ways to help myself show up. And so you guys know, I feel like on every video I talk about how I listen to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks, I listen to music, and that helps me show up to those routines and get consistent when otherwise I don't really want to. So I think that building habits is also a process of learning about yourself, learning about what pushes you through, and learning about what helps motivate you to show up and to be present during that time when otherwise you wouldn't really want to. And for me, that's my audiobooks, my podcast, and my music. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is just knowing that it is okay. Like if you establish a habit and then for some reason that habit, like it becomes harder all of a sudden. Sometimes I think that when people establish habits, they think like, oh, okay, I have this habit, I'm good. Like I don't have to think about it anymore. But I feel like if you're aware that sometimes things will come along in life that will kind of knock you around or make you have to start over or start from ground zero, it just helps you with your mindset. Because for me, like you guys know, I'm very vocal. I used to be so good at this basic weekly plan where we have like a focus each day that we need to worry about. And then homeschool came and it just knocked me completely off my A game. Okay, come on in. I'm live. I'll be downstairs in just a minute, okay? Can you help your brother get started as well?
Yes.
Okay, see you guys. All right, sorry guys, my kids have to go to school. So anyway, I'm just saying that know that it's coming and just go ahead and prepare your mindset that it's okay. Like it's okay. For me, like I mentioned, my basic weekly plan, I used to be really consistent at that. I used to feel that relief of my to-do list, like being able to check things off of my to-do list and not being overwhelmed by that. But then something changed. Like I had a life circumstance, virtual school, something changed. And I feel like now I have to like revisit that and learn how to make those routines work now in my new life or my new way of life. And so I just want to encourage you and to let you know that if that's happening to you as well, that's normal. I've had, messages from people saying that I felt like things were going really well, but then boom, this happened. And now I'm struggling to like pull it back together again. It's downstairs. Sorry. They say, boom, I'm really struggling to pull it back together again. And now, like, I feel like, everything's falling apart. And I just want to let you know that you're not alone if that's happening to you. When life circumstances come up, things change, events come up. Like for me, I just have to figure out like, okay, I have to start back from square one. Like, how do I make this easy for me? How do I make this realistic for me? What can I change about the timing? What can I change about the workload? What are things that I can think of to tweak this to make it work for my new situation? And that's a process. And like, for me, I feel like with my basic weekly plan, I've finally made the tweaks and I'm finally finding the timing of the day for me to be more consistent with that again. But it took a minute. It took a minute for me. It took a minute for me to explore and tweak and try different methods before I finally landed on something that could work a little better for me. And so, like I just wanted to bring that point up to let you guys know that if you felt like you were doing really well, something changed and you don't feel like you're doing so well now, like it happens to me and it's normal. The key is just being able to go back and being like, okay, I need to start back at ground zero. And I need to go through my strategies to make this easier for me to reestablish the habit. And then once I reestablish the habit, it becomes easier to grow. But you need a foundation in order to start growing. So start small, start realistic, and get consistent with that. And then once you get consistent with that, you can begin to grow. And so the last thing that I wanted to talk about is sometimes when we're building habits, something that helps a lot is accountability. You guys know that I've been doing this peaceful homekeeping challenge. And in order for me to do this for you guys, that required some new habit formation in myself. And I feel like the biggest thing that's helped me be consistent and to show up is accountability, knowing that every Sunday I have to show up and I have to, present to you guys and let you guys know what's going on or share, the message of the week. And so I'm going to let you guys know that it's easier for me to show up now than it was for me 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, I felt like I was struggling, like I was trying to get my bearings. And, honestly, if it wasn't for you guys, I probably would have checked out. Like I probably would have been like, okay, this is too much. But I found that having accountability and having people who are supportive and, that are kind of interested in the same things of you and who are kind of in the same mindset of you, I felt like that really pushed me and propelled me to be consistent over these last couple of weeks, to make the content for the Sunday videos, to produce the emails, to produce the Instagram stuff. And now that I've done it today, all of those things that I've done, they feel much easier to incorporate into my life. I found a natural rhythm. I found a natural flow. And it feels easier for me to do now than it did 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, I was like, what did I sign up for? Like, what was I actually thinking? And now I'm so happy that I've gone through that experience over the 8 weeks, because I've learned lots of strategies. I've learned techniques. I've learned ways to make this stuff feel easier for me, which means that now that I have these habits and I have these skills, that now I've kind of opened myself up to do other things, because now I have a foundation. So now it's easier for me to grow and to think about what the next thing is. And so accountability helps. And so you guys know that I'm kind of working through, well, first I need to finish the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge. That's just all there is to it. I need to finish this challenge. And then I'm going to shift my energy to creating the group for us. And so if you feel like, accountability is something that could be helpful to you, that's one of my goals in the group, is to figure out how to do challenges and things like that to help you guys be accountable as well. Because I know for me, it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference, especially when things feel really hard or feel really overwhelming at first. And it's like, once I'm able to show up and get consistent, then over time, it just starts to feel easier and easier. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to let you guys know that if it doesn't feel 100% easy all the time, that's normal. And that is your cue to make it easier. And that is your cue to get consistent. And then for me, it starts to relieve itself. It starts to get better over time. And then once I have that foundation, I can grow. I have 3 minutes before my kids' class starts. So I'm going to try to go through the comments as quickly as I can. I'm so sorry. I know this live was a little bit rushed, but it's okay. Progress over perfection. I'm trying to show up anyway. And if you guys would help me out, it helps my channel out so much. If you like this video, that shows YouTube that I'm not just talking nonsense, that this stuff is actually helpful. So you guys help me out, like this video. And also a final announcement. I keep saying final, and then I have another thing, is I'm going to post the sign up link down here in the comments section for anybody who is interested in that group, who wants the support, who wants the accountability, and who wants the connection. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to put the link down below. This is a sign up sheet. Like, I won't be able to even think about that until this Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge is over. I've kind of been going back and forth, but I realized that, I can only do so much. And so I'm just going to put my energy in one thing at a time and try not to get overwhelmed. But if you are interested, I have a sign up link now, so that people who sign up, you guys will get the information first as that group is starting to be developed and tweezed out. And I'll also put the information in the description box, and I'm able to come back later and complete that. And so I just ordered the Sidetrack Home Executive book. Hope it's as good as Sync Reflections. Personally, I have that book, and I don't really like, to me, this system wouldn't work out. I feel like I would get overwhelmed. But I think some people are very successful on it. And so I just kind of wanted to see, when I read this book, I like reading stories of people who have gone through transformation. And these ladies did. They used to struggle with homekeeping, stuff like that. So it's always interesting to me to see what made the difference for people, how people were able to get over that hump, and like how they were able to get consistent. So I think it's a good story. But for me, I don't think that it could work out, because I feel like there's the way that it's set up is there's a lot of initial things that you have to do first before you can kind of get on the system. And I know that for people like me who get overwhelmed easily, like, I think you have to have, like, I don't even know how many cards you have to have. So it's a card system, and it helps you stay organized by writing out all the things that need to get done, possibly in your home, onto a card system. And then you catalog the cards, and then, and I feel like just making the cards alone, I would check out. So that's just me. But I know that for some people, it's incredibly productive to not think about everything at once, and to literally open their catalog and be like, this is all I'm thinking about today. I know I'm going to get to everything, but this is it. And it frees up your mind when you don't have to be thinking about all the things. So I know that some people have been incredibly productive on it, but for me, I don't recommend it for myself or for people who get overwhelmed easily in terms of like that initial, what you have to do from the initial standpoint to prepare to do the system. So that's just me. Exactly. Once you're into a routine, you almost miss it if you don't do it. Yeah. That's why I feel like you get so used to experiencing the positive benefits that come from being consistent, that come from showing up, that for me, it almost feels worse to not do it. And that's another form of motivation for me, is I always think about what happens if I don't show up. Like, what could happen if, I decide to ditch these routines? I know what happens. Things build up, and it doesn't take very long for things to build up, like literally in a day. Hey, S.O. Hey, is it Lynette Stewart? I can't believe I caught you live. So exciting. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's see. It's a book Fly Lady Marcia read before. Okay, so you guys are talking about that book. This is from Time. Kia JF. Hey, welcome to the live. Hey, Sharina. Hey, Lisalette. Ayana. Hey, girl. Thank you so much for the kind feedback. I feel your videos are such an inspiration to make a difference. Thank you so much for your kindness. I appreciate that. And nice to talk to people who struggle with the same thing, right? Like, sometimes it can be hard when everybody just seems like they automatically know what to do and how to make life flow. But for some of us, it's a process. It's been a process for me. And so I am happy to share, especially when I know that it helps people. So that's really cool. This is from Carol. Only heard the beginning. We'll watch later. Was called away. I'll send you my input later. Awesome. Signed up. Thank you so much, Sharina, for signing up. Cards didn't work for me either. Okay, you guys are having a problem with the card. Is it for the sign up link? I'll put the sign up link in the description box, but I have to go. My kids are starting their classes. They started class a minute ago. So I will see you guys later. All right, bye. Don't forget to like